All right, y'all. So today we're going to kind of break down our successes and where we need to improve on our game. Our 6-1 loss to Slammers, which I don't even know if it was Slammers. I think it was TFA transitioning to Slammers. But let's start off with playing from the back. We have our left center back who in this position turns into a center defensive mid, right center mid, left center mid, left wing back, right wing back, attacking mid, and our two forwards. So this is essentially what it looked like. This is essentially what it would look like if the other team would have had all players. Four in the back, right? Commonly played formation 4-3-3 with wingers, one central forward, two more attacking midfielders, and then one that kind of holds back, right? So in this situation, where we had a lot of success was we would play the ball out here to Mason. Mason would take a touch forward. This winger would come and press, and we had two choices here. Well, essentially three, but we only used two, and it worked. We had play out wide, or we had play into the midfield, right? The center mid, the right center mid. So in this situation, when Gio was here, he would drop, creating a passing lane. This is a passing lane where the player doesn't have a chance of intercepting it, right? Or a slight chance of intercepting it. This, however, is not a passing lane. So when I say passing lane, I always want to move into the passing lanes. If we move too far back here, well, we're just taking away our space, right? We're dropping way too far back. We want to try to push this as far as we can. So ball's here, player's pressing right. This ball, you want to be here. You don't want to be all the way over here. I mean, you can be. It's a little harder ball to play, but want to be kind of in between this player and the left back who's going to push up here in these situations. So ball would get out here to Gio, and here's where we kind of struggled a little bit in the middle third, right? Or we'd play here middle, and it'd be a quick touch to Gio. All right, so in this situation, right, ideally what we want to try doing is this forward would be pinched in, and this forward right here, Reed, would be checking in. As soon as he checks in, he'll either one, be left alone by this center back, which if that's the case, then you play feet, and then returns and Geo supports out on the wing. Or most likely what's going to happen is Reed will check, defender will follow, and now two things can happen here. One, Jaden, right, makes a diagonal run, staying onside thanks to this center back. Diagonal run where Geo then plays through for him to run on. Notice you don't even have to play it in the air here. It can just be in between, a split between the defenders when this one presses. It'll just be a split. You bypass Reed. Reed just acts as a distraction to get the center back out of position. And then Jaden runs in through. Ball gets played there, and then we go on goal 1-on-1. Now, the other possibility here is Reed doesn't get ball, right? Jaden's making a run, but he's taking too long on this. He's not there yet. Center back shifts and covers nicely here. Now we have a 1v1 here with this defender. We have a 1v1 here as well, but the ball will take a lot longer to get there. So essentially what we want to do is this forward probably won't want to press into the mid. He'll probably want to press out. So he'll swing around like this. He'll want to press out. And in that instance, Reed then makes a run diagonally to the corner flag where we play him into space. Now you got a defender who's tracking. You got Reed in space, and now you have this center back trying to help cover but watching Jaden. And this is where the attacking mid comes into play. Attacking mid has to wait. As soon as this ball is played by Gio, or the right wing back, this attacking mid should know he has to take off and create a 3v2. This player will probably be closer to here, And in that situation, this player will be obviously higher up, right? So as Jaden starts moving this way, this player will start moving up, right? So it should look like this. This, here, here, checking in, and by then that's what's happening here. Now, we have a 3-on-3 here. We like those odds with this player in front of this player, right? So now this player, hopefully, takes a touch in, gets somewhere on top of the 18. Jaden will hopefully be making this run back here, where this player will try to stop him. This player will come in here, and now you got the attacking mid, who hopefully is beating this player. And now we have a 2v1 situation here, where either we can make a move, go out wide, or play a through ball here to where attacking mid takes a touch and boom, hopefully finishes. Right? So those are some of like the options where we could have had a lot of success, but we struggled to really find our groove in that case. So again, looking at this shape, the way that they were playing it, right? Reed here needed to check in more, and as soon as he felt that there was a defender on him, and there's the distance here is closing, he should say, well, I'm not in a passing lane anymore because this player is cutting that passing lane. I am no longer in a passing lane. Let me get into an area where now there's a passing lane. Now, or, right, or this player's taking longer, Reed's in a passing lane. He's here, and now Jaden's got space here behind to play that through ball. So, two options. As forwards, check in, make a diagonal run. Now what happens if you check in, you make a diagonal run, you don't get the ball, right? Now what happens? Well, that's fine. More likely than not, this player's going to follow, right? This player will slide. This player will slide. This other forward will probably be somewhere up here. He either made a run or he just kind of floated, drifted, hopefully here in support in case that ball got played. And now here's where the attacking mid comes into play. Once he sees that player makes his run here, we have a hole to fill. So attacking mid will take a run into the space, right? Now look, we have a triangle right here, right? And this player will move in here. Now look, we have a triangle right here as well. So here is a decision to be made. One, either this player drops in, you play ball here, right? This player now has the option to turn, or to hold ball and wait for Reed to come back. Reed now acting as like a right wing, right, on the line. Right here, you either play Jaden on the one-on-one against this player, or you play wing, and winger holds ball and waits for the team to move up, right? And then we start either making our diagonal run here, we hold off here, let the attacking mid make a run. This player will probably be somewhere here, and that's where the center mid, left center mid, and the right center mid come into play, right? And now it should look something like this. This player comes here, more likely than not. This player presses, and you have a decision to make. You either play him through, or you play back here to this player, and we're starting to move up our lines, right? And as these players are tracking back, etc., etc. Okay, so that's kind of how we want to build up the play. So it's pretty quick here in the back, right? When we play out from Aaron or Mike, it's quick. We play here or here, and then we look to go forward, right? Now, we look originally to go forward here. From here, we don't have to automatically move up. Like we said, we want to try to get it to the wingers. Now, we either go straight to the winger here, or we hit the mid and then get to the winger. Wing play is super important. Do we want a winger to just go at this guy and 1v1 him all day long? Well, that depends. Are you better than that player? Are you quicker than that player? Because if you are, and you know you can beat him, well, go ahead. Because now you beat this guy that's over here pressing, right? What's going on here? That's right. Let's say that's the left back that's pressing. Left back comes out here, press you. Let's say you beat him. Now guess what? You've got a ton of space here. You got a 2v2 in the mid. One of them is going to have to come and press you. This guy's going to have to chase. Now you have a 3v2 in this area where you can either, again, we go back to what we talked about earlier. You either slot him through, right? Or you play out wide. So essentially, in the earlier one example I gave, Reed took the place of Gio, and the attacking mid was here, right? But now, since we beat the winger, and our winger is in here, Reed's in here, and it's the same concept. You want to go at this player, 3v2 in the back. You want this player tracking or off over here where he's not really going to be involved in the play unless we switch, right? And we got a 3v2 opportunity here. This guy presses, you either slot him through, or the player tries to intercept, you take a touch forward, and then now you got two options. You got one far post run, or you have a small pass here to the finish. So that's just another example of how we can play out from the back. But more often than not, we want to keep possession, right? It's going to be strange, or not strange, but we're not at the level yet where we can be taking players one-on-one on the wings. There will be situations for that, but for now we want to really set the foundation of checking in from the forwards, making diagonal runs. That's super important. This player, the attacking mid, is going to be probably the most dynamic player. This player has a lot of ground to cover. He's got all of this and all of this. So I would say the three most active that will need a lot of conditioning are going to be the left wing back, right wing back, and then attacking mid. These players will be running quite a bit, right? But it's going to be pattern. It's going to be textbook, and you don't always have to make that run. If you check in here, right, this guy pushes up, Janet makes a run, you're just making a straight sprint, right? And you're going to goal. This player doesn't even have to sprint into this position. This player can jog into this position just for the sake of bringing this defender here. Once he jogs here, then it's a sprint across, right? And then we either play him through, or the attacking mid comes in and we play the attacking mid to feet. So that's just kind of what we're seeing here in the 3-4-1-2 essentially. These players are almost always trying to stay in line, right? Because this midfielder is trying to feed the winger. Same thing over here, this midfielder is trying to feed the winger. These two players, it's essential for them to be able to play with a person on their back, right? So notice you basically have three options here. This player doesn't need to do anything spectacular. This player doesn't need to take this player one-on-one, and then, play the perfect ball to this forward. That's not what we're asking of the left center mid and the right center mid. What we're asking here is to play the simple ball. So let's say, for example, Mikey has ball here. Mikey plays into, let's say for the sake of it, today it was Zach. Zach's got a decision to make. Zach either says, I'm confident I can make this pass to this winger or wingback, or he says, this wingback right here, it looks like he's marked. I'm going to go ahead and play back. And what this does is it starts to take players out of position. Because now, Mikey takes a touch. This person will most likely pressure. If he pressures, he'll probably want to force out. Mikey takes a touch out to the winger. This player pressures and forces in. Then it's a ball here, and now this player should be more confident that he's got plenty of room right? There's a larger margin for, or a slighter margin for error, right? Because he's got all of this space to play into. So as long as he plays somewhere around here, this defender shouldn't be able to get there, right? Now let's say, for whatever reason, or let's say they're doing a high press. This back is here, this right back, center back's up on the forward, defensive mid on the attacking mid, and then the other center back on the other forward. Well, here's where we would play what we call the skip. If you notice that this wingback, and this is where the center backs, especially the left center back and the right center back, have to be aware. If you notice that this right back is pushing up and you don't have this passing option, then dump it into the space behind. Now two things can happen. Either this wingback takes off and tries to beat him behind, or, right, we have the forward who should be checking in as well. If he sees space here, why not take it? So now you got a check in here and we have our rhombus, right? We have our rhombus, we have our triangles, right, if you divide it in half. So now this player not only has the option to play the center, the left center mid, right? Who can then, instead of playing here, play up into this area. This center back, left center back, can look for the forward himself. So, for instance, Mikey won't really be looking for Reed almost ever, unless it's some sort of overlapping run, or like we talked about, right? Where it's, or I don't know if this would be an overlapping, but it'd be behind, all right, a run behind the defenders. So that's the only occasion where I could see someone like Mikey trying to hit Reed. But for the most part, you're worried about the players in your area right here. The attacking man obviously will come to help overload. So you got right here, Mikey's most often looking for these guys right here. Noel, Zach, Chris, Jaden. And then, depending on circumstances, whoever the attacking mid is. We played with a defensive mid today, but this is going to change. This is going to be an attacking mid for the sake of rotation. So, like we said, if this right back is pressing up high, Jaden has to understand we have a ton of space here, which I'm going to check into, like you would if the winger had the ball, right? Why? Because you want to be an extra option. We got one guy coming up the center, we got one guy to the right, we got one guy to the left. This player has a decision to make. He either says, okay, I'm going to wait and cut off this angle, this player's coming here, right? Now you can either play a ball through, or if you see that this player gets yelled at by the center back saying, hey, watch your right, he watches his right, now you got a center mid that has space, who can turn, right? So he turns, and now look. Now we got this guy out of position. He's marking nobody. He was cutting off a passing lane, but now we have a clear passing lane to Jaden, right? This attacking man hasn't moved. He's just waiting for the opportunity. So now let's say this player comes out, tries to force out here. This attacking mid, there's no need for him to start running like a chicken with his head cut off. He'll simply drop into space here. Now look, we have a pass here or a pass here. If this guy's pressing hard here, he's stepping up here. Now look what we have. We have a playthrough. And attacking mid now acts as a center forward, right? Let's say this player stays. This player goes across, doesn't want, he sees the through ball, the goal scoring opportunity. He says, no, I'm going to stop that. Go straight for the man. Now, what you can do is play the attacking mid, who hopefully will turn and go at this player. And now you have a 3v3 with one player who's most likely going to be tracking, right? As soon as Jaden doesn't get ball here, he should know, hey, I have space back here. Takes off. And this is where the attacking mid has the decision to make. You either play through, right, which I would say is the best option, because now you got a 1v1 situation, or you go at this player here, wait for him to come out, play through, or maybe this player also makes a run through the back, right? But you have options. At that point, this is ideally option number one, goal scoring opportunity. But if these guys kind of sit back, this guy kind of turns here, this guy rotates here. Now you have a 3v2, which is what we're looking for in the offensive third. So again, just another situation of how this could play out, right? So all from here. We started here with our left center back and right center back. Notice here the center back, the actual like center back, isn't really having to do too much. You basically act as a center defensive mid when playing out from the back. And these two guys they're crucial in the attack. This player and this player have to have a huge understanding of the game. And you might say, oh, all we have to do is defend. No, you guys are the ones that begin the attack. So ball gets played here, right? Now Mason's got a decision to make. Let's say, for whatever reason, this player is really, really tight. This player is really, really tight here. And let's say this left back's also here. Now look, we can go ahead and just play a long ball, boom, into space. Or let's say Mason's not feeling the long ball, right? Or he sees Reed's really tied up with this guy. Reed's maybe dozed off. He's still standing all the way over here. You know, we don't need to send that long ball. I mean, we can, and you know, we'll remind Reed, hey Reed, don't forget to check in, right, into space and then make a run, or to check in and look for ball. But we forget that we can also play our goalie. Our goalie is our sweeper in this situation. If you notice, right, in the way that we're looking here, these are like our three backs. It's basically our three backs, right, when we play out from the goal. Why? Because this keeper is not really going to get challenged. And if he does, then it's not a good idea. He'll get pressed by this player. And now, easy plays Mike, right? Let's say this player, he's not going to catch up in time. He's weak side. He's going to start running this way. And now look what we have. Boom. We have center defensive mid with space. If these guys are pressing high, right? This guy's pressing here. We have our attacking mid here. We have our left center mid here. Right? Now look, you have space. This player has a decision to make. He's probably going to try to cut off this passing lane and press. And now that's where we have, right? Boom and boom. These two players should be looking to check into ball. And now look, we're again, right here, in a 3v2 situation. So that's really what we're looking for here. Those are just a couple of examples. So main takeaways here are left center back, right center back. You have a tremendous duty and a huge part to play in the attack. You're the ones that start it, right? We want to try looking for the winger if we can. And then that's where we initiate the check-in, run out, right? But if not, then we want to look for but if not, then we want to play mid, right? And see if the midfield can play there. So option one is just go direct. Start playing up. We get the ball out of our area, boom, right? We lose ball in the middle third. It's a lot better than losing it here. These center mids right here, the center defensive mid in this case, or center back, Noel, cannot lose ball. These three right here absolutely cannot lose ball. As soon as one of these three loses ball, there's a good chance that we're going to get scored on, right? So it's essential that these three play 1-2 touch maximum. This is where we have leeway. This is where we have leeway. This is where we have leeway. And this is where we have leeway, right? That's where we really start the quest for our goal. So right here, it's just 1-2 touch quick. We got our triangles, right? So quick play, boom, boom, boom. Look for that attacking mid, or look for that winger making the run. Or, like we said, we can keep it all on one side. If we see we have numbers up, and we go from there. So that's just a quick lesson today about what happened as far as the goals we got scored on, right? Or why we didn't generate the attack we should have generated against our opponent. A lot of the goals came from losses here, anytime other players had ball, right? We did a pretty good job of stepping, cover, right? Cover. But a lot of times this was our weakness here and here when ball was on the opposite side. So left center back, right center back, you guys have a huge role to play in this team. Because what happened a lot of times was we had this player here is like a defensive mid. Oh no, sorry. This player here is a defensive mid. We had two center, left center mid, right center mid. And first goal was ball gets played across. We had error here. Player did not put whole body in front of ball or want to clear properly. Just stick a toe out, ball gets through, and then we have a breakdown here of player. Player also fumbles ball, whatever the case may be. Ball lands out here. This player just comes, takes a touch, right? Or I don't even know if he took a touch, but it went straight into the side of the goal. So that's two breakdowns, right? Things that we cannot let happen. If this player misses, that's why we have the cover. So as far as positioning went, much better today than our tournament this past weekend. But still a lot to work on, and I think this hybrid where we have two defensive mids or center mids, and we have one attacking mid, is going to help us to be a lot more productive on offense and actually create a lot more opportunities. So we got a goal out today, which was really, really good. And that's, it's important. We got to look at the victories as well. So that's it for this video, and I'll keep making more as we go. Thanks, y'all.